Why are smartphone companies launching laptops all of a sudden? Xiaomi and Honor rolled out their laptops last year, and now Redmi is out with the RedmiBook 15 series. So what's going on? Well, the pandemic changed everything. The customers that these most popular smartphone companies were catering to, most of whom were first-time internet users accessing the internet from their smartphones, were suddenly in need of a larger screen for online classes, doing their office work, and basically to survive while doing everything online. People realized that a good laptop is not as affordable as a good smartphone, and most laptops under Rs 50,000 had major drawbacks. Now ready to disrupt is the RedmiBook 15 Pro, the top of the line SKU that looks super generic but might just be what the Redmi fans were looking for. Now the usual ritual before we begin, don't forget to like the video, leave your comments down below so that it signals the YouTube algorithm to promote our video higher up so that more people looking for a budget laptop can tune in. Hi, I'm Subhrojit from MySmartPrice and this is our review of the RedmiBook 15 Pro. With the RedmiBook 15 Pro, Redmi chose the components very carefully. It features a 15-inch Full HD display and runs on the 11th Gen Intel Core i5 11300H processor, which is combined with 8 GB of DDR4 RAM and 512 GB of M.2 SSD. And it is this very combination that has been absent from the budget mainstream segment all these years. It's no wonder that Redmi simply aimed for the jugular here to stand out. But in the course of including all the hardware and keeping the price aggressive, Redmi had to shed a few things that you might consider essential for the experience. I mean, it looks like any other generic mainstream laptop with a charcoal grey finish and a muted lid design. It's made entirely out of plastic. Not that it's cheaply built, but it lacks the finesse of laptops with metal finish like the HP 15 or the Acer Swift 3 in this price range. Still, I actually prefer the plastic build of the RedmiBook 15 Pro over the foam metal finish of the Mi notebooks last year, and it's an acceptable compromise to make in favor of better performance. The hinge also felt a little too loose. Yes, you can open the lid with just one finger, but I'm afraid it won't take too many iterations till the lid can no longer hold the screen steady. Also, there's only a single air intake vent, and that too at the bottom, and it tends to get pretty toasty during intense workloads. You do get a good choice of ports though, with two USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports, one USB-A 2.0 port, one HDMI port, an Ethernet port, an SD card reader, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Curiously missing is a Type-C port in the mix. But what's downright unacceptable is the display quality. The 15-inch panel just fulfills the bare basics. You can only view the screen clearly when held at a sharp 90 to 100 degrees. Anything else and the colors go for a toss. It's also far from the sharpest display I've seen at this price. There's significant backlight bleeding that makes the colors look super washed out. And with just 250 nits brightness, you can only use this indoors. But for what it's worth, it's good enough for attending online classes, making data entry and other basic office tasks. Just don't expect a blockbuster multimedia experience, and that's a bummer because the twin speakers on this one are pretty good. It's tuned with DTS audio, and when kept on a tabletop, the volume gets quite loud and is easily audible over a ceiling fan.
Now, it is important to understand a couple of things that happened in the internet between the...
Now, all these compromises were made just to offer one thing, and that is good performance. The RedmiBook 15 Pro is the only laptop in the sub 50k price range to offer the 11th Gen Intel Core i5 11300H, where most other laptops offer either the Core i3 or AMD Ryzen U series chips. That, combined with SSD storage, which is also present in the cheaper RedmiBook variants, gives them a sharp advantage over its rivals as far as pure performance is concerned. It's a strategy Redmi probably borrowed from its own book, focused purely on the performance at the cost of everything else in order to stand out. Now, it was pragmatic to do so in smartphones priced under Rs 50,000 when the company was just starting out, But does it make sense for a 50,000 rupees laptop? Well, yes, if you look at the target audience. The Intel Core i5 on the RedmiBook 15 Pro easily beats all its rivals in single-core performance and comes respectively close in beating AMD in multi-core performance. As a result, running resource-heavy software like Adobe Lightroom or Handbrake isn't all that bad, and Office apps like Slack or Zoom or Microsoft Word run without any issue. Most of the apps you would need in class or if you're just starting out in your career will run just fine. It got a higher score on the Speedometer 2.0 test on BrowserBench than the more expensive Asus VivoBook 15 Flip 14, indicating that web browsing is better on this one. It also boots up in less than 30 seconds from cold and opens files and apps without having to wait a lot. But I wouldn't go so far as calling it a multitasking beast. The 8GB RAM is the main bottleneck here. Even with just 10 Firefox tabs open, RAM usage hit 80%, which is definitely not a good sign for power users. The RAM also is not upgradable, so even if you get frustrated, there would be nothing you can do. But the hero of the story is the SSD storage inside, which supercharges the experience. Most laptops in this price range would either combine a hard drive with an equally powerful processor or an SSD with a less powerful processor. Redmi here did the seemingly impossible in bringing the two together, and that's how it aims to win over the market. Now, I also tried my hands at playing a bit of CSGO, but the integrated Iris Xe GPU isn't cut out for such activity. Even at medium graphics, I could barely manage 25 frames per second on an average, which, well, sucks. It also tends to get quite hot with the keyboard deck hitting 40 degrees after just 10 minutes of gaming. The keyboard is actually the redeeming factor in this design. It's a full-size keyboard that's well spaced out and gives a decently good typing experience. I love that the arrow keys are not fused together and there's plenty of space to rest your palms while typing. The keys use scissor mechanism and has deep travel with fast, springy feedback, and if you edit text for a living, the keyboard will feel largely satisfying. Beware of accidental touches on the large trackpad while you're typing though. The palm rejection algorithm hardly seems to work here. The trackpad is larger than what most 15-inch laptops offer, so there's plenty of space to move your fingers around, but the plastic surface isn't the most sensitive. I face some resistance while scrolling and moving the cursor around. The RedmiBook 15 Pro packs a 46 watt-hour battery inside, which gives around 3 to 4 hours of active usage. This isn't going to put an Ultrabook to shame, but for what it's worth, Redmi has done well to tune the performance to remain just as good on battery. But since the CPU is quite powerful, it does end up taking more power than the usual Core i3 or even the Ryzen 5 5500U chips. It charges fairly fast though, with the bundled 65 watt battle pin charger in around 90 minutes, which is decent. So looking at all the things, the RedmiBook 15 Pro is clearly focused on doing just one thing right, and that is to offer the best damn raw performance in this price range. Everything else feels secondary. A poorly tuned display is really bad to look at, and the generic design doesn't really invoke that feeling of I want this thing right now. But for what it's worth, the RedmiBook 15 Pro offers unparalleled performance in this price range, and if you're singularly focused on getting the best damn performance, I can easily recommend this. But for everything else like multimedia usage or even something that you would want to flaunt outside, the HP 15s or the VivoBook 15 should be the better option to go for. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such awesome new tech videos, and don't forget to share this video with all your friends who are looking to buy a new budget laptop. I'm Subhrojit. I'm going to be catching you in another video. Till then, signing out.